Hello, hello. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, wonderful technologists. Happy Halloween. We know that Halloween is here. Welcome back to the podcast. All right. Spooky season here. And then before you know it, we're going to get into Thanksgiving. I am not big on Thanksgiving. I'm more on Christmas because I love to watch my girls, just open Christmas presents and do all the Christmas things. And, there's good things that I plan for Christmas for them to do different activities. And, we bake and we do all that stuff. I do that during Halloween too. So even though I've been out of it for a few years because COVID kind of changed the way the dynamics kind of went. So just a little housekeeping. Make sure you guys follow on TikTok because I go ahead and do a protocol of the week on TikTok. And then I go ahead and share it on my Instagram and on my YouTube channel. So make sure you guys like at all the places. Make sure you follow, and like. And make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the podcast, send it to a technologist that needs to hear this shit and come get educated. Okay. So make sure you follow along. And if you guys, because I know I have had many requests, if you guys are interested in CT courses, I have a 3-for-1 bundle. It's 3 courses in one that is self-paced, that it gives you basically, all the CT basics when it comes to contrast, the most common exams, and just a crash course on CT 101. So if you're interested in that, the link is in the show notes. Pricing for all 3 of the courses is $994. So there's a ton of videos, downloads, PDFs, things like that. So if you purchase that, you will also get the 10-episode audio series of the CT Tech cheat code for free. So make sure you get in on that. Okay. So the link is in the show notes. Also, if you're interested in my private audio series, the link is in the show notes. So it's 10 episodes where I kind of give you bite-sized information on things you should be learning in your CT training. Okay, so it's $24. Make sure you get in on that. Also, you can check out my YouTube channel. I drop a lot of free content on there and you can share it. I drop a lot of knowledge and a lot of free content on my TikTok channel as well. So at the CAT Scan Guru in both places. Okay. So let's get into today's episode. So I figured today's episode, we do a little Q&A section because I get a lot of comments and I get a lot of just questions and things like that on social media. So I am going to kind of go through my TikTok page and some of the comments and things like that that have surfaced that people frequently ask when they are on my page. Because once I put it out a video and there are a shit ton of comments, and it's very hard because I am a mom, I work full time, and I also run a business. So sometimes it's hard for me to get through all the comments. So I figure I make this podcast episode so I can give you some juicy answers on some of the comments that are left. Okay. So this is starting out with recently, which I am going to try to respond on my TikTok, respond back on TikTok. Okay. So somebody had commented, I had done this week's protocol video, which it was discussing CT urograms. Okay. And how at the facility I work at, we do a split bolus. Now, this may not apply to your facility. That's why I always encourage in my videos to check out your protocol book, because anything that I say in my protocol videos is very general. And I stick to just general consensus because sometimes that is used everywhere. So this commenter had said, with the double bolus protocol, do you not give any pre-medication prior to the scan? To answer your question, no. The only time that we give any type of pre-medication is if the patient has any contrast allergies and they need the CT scan. That is the only time we do that. So we do not give any pre-medication whatsoever. I'm not sure if that's something that applies to if you're in the United States, because I am not sure, or in the country that you reside in, but we do not do that. Another person had commented, it was a video that I had done about a little PSA asking CT techs out there if their training was adequate. So this commenter has said, I've been a CT tech for 21 years. I was taught to be a button pusher, which I couldn't stand. So basically taught myself and troubleshoot. So she troubleshooted and here, let me see if I can bring up the comment, and problem solve. Anytime I teach people CT, I teach them the whys and the hows to do things, not just what buttons to push. Love this response. This is exactly what I was looking for because this video had a lot of views and a lot of comments on here. So this one was very good. And I do the same thing where I teach everybody the hows and the whys because it's not all about pushing buttons. You actually have to know what you're doing when you're in the room with the patient. And you also need to know what you're doing when you're behind that console. So another commenter, this is a young lady that had asked me for help. Let me see if I can find her original comment. Is 16 weeks adequate training at a level 1 trauma hospital? She's about to start an internship. So I did a video response on this one, and I did give her 2 sides to my opinion on it. And I told her that 16 weeks should be sufficient amount of time to learn the core basics and to make sure she takes notes and ask the whys and make sure that she understands what she's scanning. And she had responded, first, thank you for responding to me. Second, thank you for responding so thoroughly. Thank you for the encouragement. She starts on November 17th on her internship, which I told her she's going to kick ass. You're going to do great. And I still stand 10 toes on that. Okay. Another one. Let's see. I'm just kind of going through the comments here. Now, this commenter, this was from a video when I was describing contrast media. So I had done a contrast media video on TikTok, and it says, if we can't afford to pay for contrast for a CT scan, do you guys still get a good reading in CT to determine a hernia? I'm thinking I could have an inguinal one or around the hip area because I cannot afford contrast. Now, what this says to me is that this is in another country where I am assuming, I'm just going to throw it out there, that contrast media is separate from the exam. And I have heard that this does exist in some countries. But here in the United States, yes, we charge for contrast, but it's all included with the whole exam. Like we can't exclude that and expect the patient to pay for it. So I'm going to answer your question on here. I'm also going to answer this on TikTok as well, where if they're looking just for a specific hernia, and this depends on radiologist protocol, okay? Typically hernias, we can give oral contrast and that should be sufficient. Now, if they're not worried about any other structures, when it comes to the vascular system, when it comes to organs or things of that nature, then I think oral contrast should be sufficient enough to display wherever that hernia is. So you said it's, inguinal around the hip, but you can't afford contrast, then they should be able to provide oral contrast. But from what I'm taking here is that you can't afford to pay for contrast. Well, that's kind of 50-50. It depends on the size of the hernia. It depends if it's encased somewhere. Sometimes we can get away with not giving any oral contrast or any IV contrast. And sometimes we can just do a without scan and that would be sufficient. But that would have to be up to your doctor and what is the recommendation he would give. And those are questions you should ask your doctor. And you can also ask, if you're going for the exam, you can ask the technologist and say, do I have to drink something? Can we get away with not drinking something? And they can go back and reference, with the radiologist's protocol to see if that's sufficient. It's the best answer I can do because I'm not a physician. So, I have to stay within my scope of practice. Okay. So let me see what other comments we got. Because I get a lot of comments on videos every day and I try to go through all the comments and it's a lot. Now, another person had commented because I had done a series on TikTok on 5 straight 12s that I was working. They had said, how many do you do in 12 hours? You have transportation. Okay, so I'm assuming that's how many exams do I do in a 12-hour period? Sometimes it could be 30 patients. Okay, sometimes it's more because a lot of these patients get multiple exams, like a whole trauma pan scan. That's like 6 to 8 exams, depending on what they're ordering. Okay, sometimes it's 10. So I could easily do 30 patients in my shift. There have been times where I've done like 35, 40, and I've wanted to like rip out my hair. It's not fun. So as far as transportation, yes, we do. We do have tech aides and we do have like a centralized transportation department in our hospital where we do get patients. So let's see what else we have, because I do get a lot of comments, guys, a lot of comments. Okay, let's see. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so this one was also on, is your CT training adequate? So sink or swim situation 18 years ago, treaded water for the first few years, started a job 11 years ago with techs older than me. So let's see. And actually learned why I was doing what I was doing. 18 years in, we have students doing clinicals, trying my best to explain and teach real life situations to new techs so they can swim and not tread water like I did for so many years. This is really good. Okay. A lot of the people who commented on this video, which this video has about 13,000 views, all the comments were excellent. Excellent. And I pose those questions all the time. And I really enjoyed everybody's feedback because it's really nice to see. So another question that I get is, or another comment that I got was cross-training X-ray techs ruined it. This is from the same video. A lot of the techs I've worked with don't know why anything is done. They just know how to do it. This is a really excellent comment. And I think I'm going to do a follow-up video response on this because it's a hit or miss when you are cross-training folks from X-ray, okay? Because CT is not for everybody, okay? So we can agree or disagree. CT is not for everybody. CT is very high paced, it's very complex, and you got to hustle your ass off. So a lot of times there are certain techs that think getting into CT because they want more credentials behind their name is just going to be an easy thing. It really isn't, because you do have to work hard and you have to hustle and bustle. And sometimes cross-training can be, let me back up. CT, the learning curve, is huge. And some people pick it up really fast, some don't. And that's the thing. And the thing is that you also don't want to train people that are not going to know why they do something. They just know how to do it. There's a difference. There's a difference on how you do it and knowing why you're doing it versus just knowing how to do it and saying, oh, I don't know, we just do it this way. Grinds my fucking gears when people say that, well, this is what we've done for the last 10 years. No, because there are better ways to do it. Okay. But you're just being too close-minded to expand your horizons a little bit. So sometimes cross-training people from X-ray, it's 50-50. It depends on who you get. Okay. And I know I've worked at places where we've cross-trained folks from X-ray and they were not good choices, because sometimes that happens. Okay. And a lot of times there are other instances where you're like, fuck yeah, this was a good decision. Because, depending on who you work with is going to dictate how strong, you guys are together, because working together and collaborating together is the most important thing. I had an old school technologist would always say this: you're as strong as your slowest tech. I don't know why he said that. I think it was a little bit better. You are as strong as your slowest tech. And I was just like, okay, not that I would say anything like that ever, but he 30 years in the business and just mean, grouchy. He was like retirement ready. Okay. But the dynamics of how your workflow goes, you have to have strong people that you work with, and making sure that you give them the tools and the guidance on how to go ahead and make sure that the department flows is very, very important. Okay. So let's see if we got other. So this one was really good. It's the same video from Is Your CT Training Adequate? So this is another comment. It says, it all depends on the tech training you. Been doing it 20 years, but the new techs shy away from more difficult exams. I concur with that. Now, the reason I say that is because difficult exams can be very scary and it can be very daunting. And a lot of times you just don't want to make mistakes. I know I was a new tech once, and yeah, I shied away from, difficult exams. But when you take the bull by the horns and you do those difficult exams, it's going to just make you better. With practice and repetition and just having some confidence, you're going to breeze through that. I can tell you, at my hospital, the most difficult exams, you know who gets them? I do. You want to know why? Because I know how to handle that situation. And the techs that work with me know I know how to handle that situation. And that's why they give me the most difficult cases, because I know I can navigate through it and not fuck it up and provide like a really good optimal scan. But you have to take that upon yourself to make sure that you know how to operate during those difficult exams and how to get like at least some kind of optimal images, because not all patients are the same. A lot of patients are sick, they're very contracted, they're ill, they won't hold still. Sometimes you have a lot of factors going against you, but how you manage those difficult exams is what is important. And I'm going to speak on the new technologists as far as this person's comment. Don't shy away from that. You need to take the bull by the horns and do it. That's going to make you a stronger tech, and it's going to make you more knowledgeable. Okay. It doesn't matter if you've never seen it. Get in there and do it. It doesn't matter if you fuck up. Okay. Because at least if you admit that you made a mistake, that makes it better instead of not doing it at all. Okay. Because how are you supposed to learn if you don't get in there and do it? Okay. Now, the other caveat to this is when we're training, and I'm going to mention this on this podcast because I do get a lot of comments and questions about this, is, technologists that are training new technologists that are just coming into CT, can I ask you all a question? Why are we being mean to them? Okay. Why are we being, I don't want to say bullies, but I'm going to say that. Why are we bullying new techs? Because I've seen videos around TikTok where I see that even X-ray students are not even comfortable at their clinical site. So, and the same thing applies with other modalities. Like, why are we holding such a strong expectation to new technologists that are coming into CT or even X-ray students that are coming into X-ray thinking that they're supposed to know X, Y, and Z? Isn't it your job to make sure that you train them properly and that you make sure that they understand? Because I'll tell you, just because you've been in X-ray for however much long and then you decide you want to cross over into CT, please do not have that high expectation that that person's going to know everything off the bat. Like in 2 weeks' time, they should know everything. It takes at least 3 or 4 months to really grasp the knowledge and to grasp those basic skills. I can tell you, we have a technologist in our department right now. When it comes to some of the difficult exams, yeah, she will tell you straight out, I am not comfortable just yet, but if I can see you do it, perfect. And that's all you need to know. And you know what? I'm even happy to walk her through the exam so that she knows exactly what she is supposed to do. But can we get back to just having kindness and just educating the technologists so they learn so that we can have better technologists out there? Because the moment that an X-ray student feels uncomfortable, they're not comfortable in at their clinical site, a CT technologist is not comfortable, you'll notice that like when those things happen, they shy away from coming to that site, or they shy away and they just say, okay, I need to get all my exams for my registry so they could take the test and go somewhere else. Like, can we stop doing that? Okay. Because that just creates a very, very hostile environment. And it's not the way that we should act. And it's not the way that we should train people. You can't have that high expectation and think, oh, well, they should know X, Y, and Z. It doesn't. 4 weeks of training is not going to show, it's not going to process. You have to remember, there's so many CT exams out there that you have to learn. And in 4 weeks, they're not going to jam all that shit into their brain. Okay. So let's start out with just the basic stuff. And that's why I give you an 8-week checklist so that you have a guide on to know what you should be learning, where you should start, and how you should execute. Okay. So make sure you grab it in the show notes. So please, that is one of the things that I get a ton of comments on my social media about stuff like this. Okay. And a ton of comments about how you're showing the hows and the whys, and some of these technologists just don't care. Now, because there is a flip side to it. If you don't care and you don't want to be there and you're just doing it for the credentials, then maybe you're not in the right spot. Okay. So because you have to do healthcare because you want to help people. This is not just a paycheck. These are people's lives that we're dealing with. So those are my 2 cents on that. So that is it for this episode as far as Q&A and some of the comments that I get on social media. So of course, if you want to comment or something, just make sure, you drop a comment on my TikTok, Instagram, email, DM, whatever the case is, on any questions that you might have. Make sure you check out the show notes for all my courses, the 10-episode audio series, and the freebie checklist. So make sure you guys get in on that, okay? So thank you so much for listening to this episode, and I will check you guys out in the next episode.